What did we just read? It's some very strong language. What did Sister White just tell us? Just a summary? No?
If you change just a little bit of the three angels' message, then you would be doing, she says not to change just even a little bit of it.
Okay.
And she moves on to, the importance of understanding the transition of the earthly sanctuary to the heavenly sanctuary.
Okay, so we can see as how we treat truth is going to affect our salvation. It's going to affect our ability to by faith follow what Christ is doing in the heavenly sanctuary. It is salvational, in other words, right? We're so afraid to say that things are salvational, that our salvation depends upon anything other than the love of God for us. But it's very plain for us to see. What else do we see here? Do we all see that Sister White is making a very plain parallel between the time period of Christ and the three angels' messages? Is everybody seeing that? Right? Something that we've been doing, we've been looking at the parallels between the Millerite time period, the time period of 1840 through 1844, and how Sister White is using the time period of Christ at his first advent to show the importance of the Millerite time period, that history. So we can see that there are parallels. It's for us to flesh them out and to study them. I'm going to just continue reading on, that we could see a little bit more. Many look with horror at the course of the Jews in rejecting and crucifying Christ. And as they read the history of his shameful abuse, they think they love him and would not have denied him as did Peter, or crucified him as did the Jews. But God, who reads the heart of all, has brought to the test that love for Jesus which they profess to feel. All heaven watched with the deepest interest the reception of the first angel's message. But many who professed to love Jesus and who shed tears as they read the story of the cross derided the good news of his coming. Instead of receiving the message with gladness, they declared it to be a delusion. They hated those who loved his appearing and shut them out of the churches. Those who rejected the first message could not be benefited by the second, neither were they benefited by the midnight cry, which was to prepare them to enter with Jesus by faith into the most holy place of the heavenly sanctuary. And by rejecting the two former messages, they had so darkened their understanding that they can see no light in the third angel's message, which shows the way into the most holy place. I saw that as the Jews crucified Jesus, so the nominal churches had crucified these messages, and therefore they have no knowledge of the way into the most holy, and they cannot be benefited by the intercession of Jesus there. Is that significant? Now she's making a very direct parallel. She's saying that just as the Jewish nation treated how they treated truth in that time, in their reception of John the Baptist, had a direct bearing and influence upon their rejection of Jesus Christ and upon their reception of the Holy Spirit at Pentecost. In the Millerite time period, those that rejected the first angel wouldn't be benefited by the second, nor would they be benefited by the what? she says the midnight cry, just before the third angel's message, to show the way into the most holy place. That's a direct parallel to the Jewish nation. Right? What we're doing, and I've just been continually saying this, and what we've been saying is that the Millerite time period is being prefigured by the Bible. Sister White is showing us that the Millerite time period is biblical. It's a fulfillment of Bible prophecy. Not only the Millerite time period, which would be the beginning of Adventism, then if the beginning of Adventism is prefigured by the Bible, then that close of Adventism is prefigured by the Bible as well. God shows the end from the beginning, right? And that, as we think about that, that means that so much of the closing events of Earth's history that are veiled to the large body of evangelicals and of Christianity today is opened up to Seventh-day Adventists that understand, that are willing to study and understand Bible prophecy. And it's important, we can see from this, that it's important for us to see by faith the intercession of Jesus in the most holy place. Is that clear? It's important for us to see that. Like the Jews who offered their useless sacrifices, they offer up their useless prayers to the apartment which Jesus has left. And Satan, pleased with the deception, assumes a religious character and leads the minds of these professed Christians to himself, working with his power, his signs, and lying wonders to fasten them in his snare. She says that the prayers that are being offered, just like the Jews offer their useless sacrifices, Adventism can be offering their useless prayers to the apartment which Jesus has left. And who is presiding in this congregation? In this congregation that we're reading. Satan is presiding. Satan is pleased with the deception. He assumes a religious character, and he leads the minds of these professed Christians to himself. Some he deceives in one way and some in another. He has different delusions prepared to affect different minds. Some look with horror upon one deception, while they readily receive another. Satan deceives some with spiritualism. He also comes as an angel of light and spreads his influence over the land by means of false reformations. The churches are elated and consider that God is working marvelously for them, when it is the work of another spirit. The excitement will die away and leave the world and the church in a worse condition than before. Just two more paragraphs. I saw that God has honest children among the nominal Adventists and the fallen churches, and before the plague shall be poured out, ministers and people will be called out from these churches and will gladly receive the truth. Do you see that? She's pointing out the fallen churches, that there are honest children. God has honest children among the fallen churches, and what else?
Nominal Adventists.
The nominal Adventists. I saw that God has children among the nominal Adventists and the fallen churches. And before the plague shall be poured out, his ministers and people will be called out from these churches and will gladly receive the truth. Now, I don't believe, and we have to be very careful in how we speak about the Adventist church, because Sister White is clear that it's not Babylon. And though it may look, though it's faulty, though it may look like it will go down, it won't. And it's that it will go through to the end. But she says that among nominal Adventists, some are going to be called out.